Welcome to the Business Spotlight Series. My name is Kay Cote, and I'm your podcast host here at Action Coach in Central Texas. Today, we have on the show Christian Lola, CEO of Fiada Foods. And today, Christian is going to be telling us all about his business, challenges, best practices, and share a sneak peek to what it's really like to be owning a business. And so today, I want to welcome you and thank you for being here today. Also, shout out to our listeners. If this is your first time on our channel, be sure to like and subscribe for more interviews like this. Welcome to the show, Christian. Tell us a little bit about you and your business.
Thank you. Thank you, Kay. I appreciate it. My name is Christian, and I'm the founder of Fiada, Fiada. And our business basically makes premium African consumer products for consumption and really targeted towards the American audience.
And that is very, very cool. So are you like the sole founder? How did you get started with this? What kind of drew you into creating this?
So yeah, currently I'm the sole founder, but bringing on investors. So the cap table is going to evolve over time. What really inspired me to start this company was two things. My culture, which I'm from the Democratic Republic of the Congo. That's long for DRC. I was born there. I grew up in Indiana, go Hoosiers. And I always kind of felt like growing up, it was difficult for me to share my culture or for people that were close to me, my friends, for them to understand what it means to be African. And then I grew up cooking with my mother. My mom is super close to me. I love her dearly. And she taught me a lot about African culture, African cuisine. And so fast forward and I'm thinking about starting a business. I'm not really sure what to start. Had tried a couple businesses before, grew, but they didn't necessarily, have an exit or anything crazy. But I learned a lot during those times. So I grabbed all those skills that I had learned. I was like, let me build this company to try to share a piece of my culture, but also to bring community together and family together over food and culture. So that inspired me to start Fiada.
That is really cool. I absolutely love hearing about that and just like hearing that you have like that kind of your mom inspired it and the role you're doing. So tell us a little bit about, I want to know a deep dive into your role. What does your day-to-day look like?
Uh, so I've been doing this for a little bit over a year now, full time. And my day to day varies quite a bit. It depends on the day and depends what's happening during this phase of where the company is. So we are entering the fundraising. Sorry, we are in the fundraising phase. We've been fundraising for maybe a month or so, and so a lot of times it's the days. I'm having a hard time even describing to you the days because every day is different. I'll give you an example. Maybe last Friday, I usually create a calendar at the beginning of the week, and then that calendar kind of dictates and gives me guardrails of where what's happening during the week. But every week things change. Meetings are canceled, added, modified, and then I spend a lot of my days these days speaking with investors, prospecting, reaching out to investors, building a sales pipeline for our B2B business, but also our B2C business, which is what we have currently. I also spend a lot of time like fine tuning our supply chain. So this is like building a relationship with our co-manufacturer, discussing logistics, distribution, storage, and etc. And then also marketing. A lot of time spent on marketing. Early on, you want to spend a good portion of your budget in marketing, especially if you're trying to educate or the product you're bringing to market is very, very new. You want to spend some effort educating the customer and finding who your niche or target customer is. So yeah, every day varies, but I juggle those things differently on different days.
Yes, it's like you're wearing all the hats right now, and there's just like the day to day. Well, we're going to deep dive into marketing in a bit, but at first, I'd love to hear about, this kind of like business to consumer and then like a business to business model. So, like, who do you primarily serve with both of those models, and like, and how would I know if I'd be a good fit for your products?
Sure. So over the last year, when we started out, we weren't really sure who our target customers would be. Um, it's honestly kind of like dating in a way, but when we went to market, we thought it would be just Africans, like first, second, third generation Africans. But to my surprise, that's not been the reality. Over the last year, we found out that we have a few core segments. So if you fall in one of these groups, you probably love our brand or love the products that we have right now, and then the products that we're going to build in the future. The first one is the adventure seekers. So if you just love adventure, the closest thing I can compare these people to are people that are fanatics of the brand Red Bull. So if you like Red Bull and that brand and like maybe their products, you probably love our products. So that's one customer segment that's buying a lot of our product. The second customer segment is I call them Lululemoners. I do not know a better way of describing them, but the
I get it.
Lululemoners, they actually are our core customer. They're our number one customer. The core, and this is basically 18 to like 50. And what the way I understand the Lululemoners, they like finding things in life. They like kind of quaint, cool, unique products. They like things that are well done and are consistent and are of quality or premium. Um, and and the segment that's between 30 and like 50, they tend to be like the household commander or captain. Like they're the ones that are calling the shots, like what's being bought in the house, the kids' schedule, et cetera, how the house is being run. They're like the captain of the house. They're a core customer.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last couple are gym fanatics. They love eating our products with chicken for some reason. And then cultural enthusiasts, so people that have traveled to Africa, other countries. These are the guys that I call them backpackers. They'll go to Europe or somewhere and they'll be like, oh, this is what I discovered in Romania, or this is what I discovered in Paris, this is what I discovered in Budapest, etc. So those are really our core customers, and what unites them is just they like good food, they like quality, and they like adventure.
Well, I fit a few of those categories. I'm like sitting here nodding along. I love that. Yes, I actually lived over in South Africa myself, and so
Oh, yeah,
um,
perfect. You'd be a perfect customer.
yep, and I love my Lululemon. So I was like, this. I really like that you have all these kind of like kind of personas of your customer, because that really gives you that well-roundedness to like this person exists. Like you almost can like create them
Yeah.
in your mind. That is really cool. I love that kind of like deep dive into that. So how would you say your competitors compare with you, like other types of food companies or exotic foods or unique food brands?
Um, well, we're learning a lot. Like every month, we're learning a lot. Um, what's really interesting about this industry is the CPG industry is as old as bread. They've just been around for a while. But what's not been around is if you think about this, okay, like when's the last time you went to a grocery store and saw any African product on the shelf? Have you ever seen that before?
Mostly in specialty food stores, like world market type of stores, but no, not very often, unless it's like I'm seeking it out. But I don't
Yeah.
very often.
So that was one of the early things we realized is like making African food more accessible um, to Americans. It became obvious that there was a large gap there. When we look at a competitive landscape, um, I see there's two companies that I think are direct site. They also make African foods, but one is really focused on flowers, and then another one is focused on West African. What makes Faida different is that we are Pan African. I believe in unification in the sense that Africa is a continent with 55 countries, but there's many different distinct cultures. And I think Fiada can be a representative of what quality looks like in those cultures. And so what makes us different is we're Pan-African. We believe in all the countries. And then competitors also, for me, they're not adversaries. I see them as partners. I'm happy to work with them in the future if they're willing to. If they're not, that's okay. And because of how things are developing, what's happening right now is there's basically a new industry or sub-industry that's developing called African foods. Because if you go to Walmart, Kroger, Safeway, HEB, Food Lion, I mean, et cetera, the list goes on. You're not going to find any African food, but give it 1 to 5 years, that's going to change a lot, because African food is not only delicious and we tend to use whole ingredients. I think if you look at Africans and how their diet and their habits and how their body evolves and adapts over time, I think the reason why a lot of Africans are healthy is because of the kind of diet that they consume. And so Fiada would be a conduit to that and give Americans access to that quality of food.
I really like that too. And I think about even the things I like to eat. I like to try different spices and flavors to add to healthy dishes. And so I think it's a great. It encourages exploring food types. It also encourages cooking at home, and trying different flavors. So I think that's really awesome that you're working on this. This kind of leads me right into marketing, which is a part that we briefly touched on in the beginning of the interview, but I'd love to hear how you're marketing this to your consumers. How are you sharing about the food you're creating, and what are your main focuses with marketing right now?
So when we started this business, we wanted to make a bunch of products immediately. But what I've learned is we're going to be focusing on our hero product. I wish I had it next to me. I'd show it to you. We're going to be focusing on our hero product, which is our hot sauce. Having one SKU and one product to focus on removes a lot of noise, and allows you to really build that intimate and strong connection with your customers. So our marketing right now is, because we're so new, we're really just focusing on word of mouth. So a lot of our customers have came from one person buys a bottle and then they share that with someone else, and then someone else shares with someone else. It's kind of what happened with sriracha. When people ask about our product, Fiada hot sauce, they're like, what kind of sauce is it? I'm like, it's an African hot sauce. Like, what would you compare it to? And the best answer I have for people is that it would be like asking the founder of sriracha, what would you compare sriracha to in the 1970s when he came from Vietnam to the US? If you ask him, what would you compare sriracha to? He would say sriracha. And we'd be like, what do you mean sriracha? Sriracha, because that's what it is. And so that's the same thing with Fiada. It's like the when people try our product, they don't know how to categorize it, because we humans, we love categorizing things. And when you create something new that's different, one of the things you have to educate people on how to use it, why it's different, and why the market wants it. Usually the customers will make that decision themselves. And so that's what's been exciting, is like just word of mouth. But now as we close our funding round, it's going to be exciting, because now we can start putting more marketing dollars towards ad campaigns, both organic and paid, and that will kind of spread the message of African culture, of family, of love between mother, and son, and the values that we believe here at Fiada.
I'm curious. Do you do like, are you going to do vendor showcases or work with like, maybe there's like wellness expos and like be that like in person? Like, are you planning on anything like that? I'm always curious about that.
So yeah, we're gonna be doing some in-person, in-store marketing, where we're starting to learn that universities are actually interested in our product. So right now we are having discussions with a couple universities, Big Ten, and here in Texas as well. about them carrying our products in their cafeterias and cafes as a way of diversifying, their menu options. And this would also be that a good way to describe it would be like you go to a cafeteria or cafe and you walk in and you see, ketchup, you see barbecue sauce. You see Fiada hot sauce because it'd be a new offering. And what makes that really interesting to me and to users is like the versatility of the product. It's very versatile, so it kind of markets itself. It lends itself, it markets itself. And then for this year, we're really focusing on Texas, Austin, Houston, Dallas, San Antonio. We're hitting those three cities up in going retail. And so we'll be doing some in-store samplings there to market our product. And then as well as like bigger events that happen, throughout the year here in Texas. We may do some, some farmers markets here and there, but we're going to be putting a lot of our effort towards selling to the stores that we're selling at.
Wow, that's really incredible too. I love to hear the journey of that in the product. And so I kind of want to deep dive actually into you a little bit. And, why did you choose to go into business for yourself as opposed to choosing to work for someone else? I'm always curious about that. And like, how was that transition like for you?
That's a good question. It's a good question. I started off as a consultant. I did my master's in information systems. So I was a tech guy doing management and IT consulting. And fresh out of college, I thought that would be like, the life. I don't know if you watched the movie Up in the Air with George Clooney.
Oh, I need to watch that one.
It's a good movie. It's about a consultant, and I watched that movie maybe like I drink the Kool-Aid. So I went into consulting, but I realized that the lifestyle of traveling 4 or 5 days a week, and then you kind of stretch that out over 20 years. And I saw the people that had been doing that for 20, 30 years. And to be very frank with you, they didn't necessarily seem balanced or as happy. Not that you can't be happy, but what I noticed, a lot of them weren't happy. And for me, one of my values is I want to speak love and speak truth and spread love. And so I felt like building something that comes from my heart, and inventing cool things would be more fulfilling than climbing the corporate ladder. And then also, my mom was an entrepreneur through and through. So I may have caught that bug. And so I just feel way happier, way more fulfilled when I own a product and I'm in, the failure and the success of that is completely on me and there's no one else to blame. I like that. I like that challenge.
That's really powerful too. I really like that as well. And it sounds like it, I love that it runs in the family and, now you're kind of like building this. As you look back at your journey so far in this business, what has been the most memorable roadblock or hurdle, something that really challenged you that like you were forced to overcome?
I think off the top of my head, I think closing my first investor, getting to a point of closing that first investor, when you build a company, especially if it's a new concept, a lot of people don't believe you or don't believe in you or what you're doing early on. I've had people, including friends, discourage me or ask me things like, "Hey, are you still working on that little company of yours?" Or just say things that aren't super encouraging, and being able to kind of shut that away and stay focused and that was super challenging. I actually underestimated how challenging that would be. That was one of the more challenging things I've experienced in life. And so getting the company to where it had enough value and showed enough traction, and then being able to demonstrate that to a strategic investor, and watching them kind of watch the company evolve over the course of a year and a half, and then pitching to them, and then them saying yes to investing. That I remember that day. I was I was so happy. I didn't even know what to do with myself. I was just so happy because having someone that is has having someone that's on top of the mountain look down at you climbing up the mountain and lend you a hand, it's
Mm.
one of the most beautiful feelings that I felt in my life. And I look forward to one day extend that same hand that was extended towards me to someone else. Find another, young, hungry guy or girl that they just want to do the work. I'm like, I see myself in you. Here's my hand. It's priceless.
Oh, it's incredible when someone believes in you, what you've been working on and believed in, and it just like it levels you up in so many ways. Like you just, yeah, I that's really cool. I'm really glad that you've had that experience, and thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Which leads
Also,
me,
it also gives you a lot more confidence to like go forward.
oh, 100%. I agree with that. So where do you see your business going here in the next like 3 to 5 years?
Um, that's a good question. Let me think about that for a second. 3 to 5 years. Mm, I think I want to keep. I know LeBron James. He has his haters, but I love LeBron James. I think he's not a perfect human being, but he's an incredible human and athlete. And one of the things that I've heard him say is like keep the main thing the main thing.
Mm,
So I want to make sure we don't lose focus of who we were at the core and what are we at the core. We're an African family brand that really values family, that loves connection, loves culture, um, and I don't want to lose that core of who we are. I want to grow a strong customer base that are repeat customers that just love what we do. Um, by having good messaging, marketing, but most important, having good product and good people. I want to always keep quality in everything that we do. I don't want to be. I don't need to be the biggest. I just want to be the best.
mm,
Um, and then what else? I guess there's gonna be some side. I call them side quests. It would be nice to have to be in more than 1 million American homes.
mm.
That'd be a great notch in the belt. And then a couple more things would be like having a team that reflects the diversity of what the US is becoming. There's actually stats out there that shows that in about 10, 20 years, there's not going to be a majority anymore. So the US is going to be super mixed, kind of like Brazil. So I
Mhm.
want the team that I hire to be a reflection of what's in the community that we serve. Um, and then last but not least, I want to have more quality, delicious products on the market.
Oh, those are great goals. I love hearing that. We've covered so much great ground in this conversation. I've thoroughly enjoyed talking with you about this and hearing your passion for what you do. I encourage our listeners, listen to this a few times. You're going to get so many great nuggets out of it. So as we begin to wrap up, I have a few rapid fire questions for you. These are those quick top of mind answers. So you ready for these?
As ready as I'm gonna be. Yeah, let's do it.
All righty. Our first one is, what is the key to success for you?
Knowing that you're good enough at inner peace.
Hmm. And what is one piece of advice you have for other business owners?
Once you get some traction, trust your intuition.
Hmm. That's a great answer. What is one book or piece of content that you've read recently that's impacted you?
The Daily Stoic is something that I read almost every day. Sometimes I miss it because weekends happen, but the Daily Stoic is really kind of after rough days or really as an entrepreneur you have really high highs and really low lows, and that can all happen even within the span of 1 hour. So the Daily Stoic just reminds me that to kind of choose the middle ground and kind of to have more the attitude of water, in the sense that accepting things as they come to me and making changes where I'm able to make changes and trusting that everything will be fine. So the Daily Stoic has been super, super helpful.
Oh, I want to check that out. That sounds really great. And then final question is, if you had to choose only one area of your business to immediately improve tomorrow, what would it be?
supply chain.
Mm.
I think it's really difficult to get supply chain perfect early on. So to kind of have supply chain from the point of purchasing to the point where the customer is leaving us a review, making that as like smooth and pain free, which I don't know if that's possible, uh, as possible, to make that process like world class would be amazing. And that's what I'm aiming to do. It takes time, and it takes a team, and it takes listening, and it takes relationships.
Definitely. Well, that's really awesome too. Great answer. Before we dive into our final question of the day, how can people find out more about your company and your product and get their hands on this delicious food?
Yeah, so you can buy our product directly from our website currently. It's called faidafoods.com. And you can find us on Instagram at Fiada Foods as well, and on LinkedIn as well, Fiada Foods. So if you type in Fiada Foods, we should come up, or just find us on our website. And then also we will be creating a new website within the next month. That's even more user friendly. So customer experience is very important to us as a company.
Oh, wonderful. Well, Christian, this has been such a great conversation. Thank you so much. Our final question for the day. What is most inspiring to you today?
Oh, I think what's been most inspiring to me lately has been like pausing and listening to people that are younger than me, uh, teenagers, 20s, and just seeing how generations evolve over time and seeing the evolution of their thinking process and priorities, has been really cool, really, really inspiring to me. And I've encountered this in countless ways, whether it's like it's at the gym, or working, or interviews, or friendships, or events. It's been like, yeah, the young generation, they have skill sets that, that people that came before them didn't necessarily have exposure to. They grew up with the internet. They had phones, some before 10. So their brains are wired slightly different, but I think it can be asked as a superpower.
That's really powerful. Well, thank you so much. You have been such a joy to talk to for sharing your journey so far in business. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you, Kara. I appreciate it so much.